Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining today's edition of Premier Esports Academy web series. I'm Dan Himmelstein, the founder and brain coach over at Premier Esports Academy, and today we're going to be talking about a very hot topic in esports. Every time I tell someone what I do and they're from the esports world, they always ask me, Dan, what do you think about tilt? How do you handle it? What is it? What do you tell your players? And that's what we're going to talk about today a little bit. We're going to talk about tilt, what it looks like, and what to do when it happens. Now, first things first, tilt manifests in everyone very differently. No one's going to have the exact same experience of tilt that another teammate or another friend or player does. So that's the first thing I'd like to point out is that tilt is different for everyone, and there's going to be different ways to go about handling tilt for everybody. That's the type of art that we really talk about when it comes to performance psychology training, and dealing with these types of issues in esports. So, what is tilt? If you're unfamiliar with it, let's just go over it. It's basically it comes down to performance degrading frustration. Now, that frustration can be stemmed from teammates. It could be stemmed from your own performance. It could be stemmed from training routines. It could really come from a number of different areas. This idea of tilt. And one of the things I really like to mention when I get asked about tilt is, you know, is it all bad? Is there anything we could use out of it? Things like that. So my whole philosophy on tilt is that there's pros and cons to it, in all honesty. Now, we'll talk about the cons a little bit. The overly frustrated. We often become toxic in that we're yelling at our teammates or harshly criticizing our teammates, which, we obviously know can lead to some really degrading performance. There's a lack of effort often, and that kind of feeling that like you're absolutely hopeless now in this game. There's no coming back, and we're just super upset, and it's just not going our way. So those are the types of negative aspects of tilt that I talk about. And now I want to give you some of the positive sides of tilt, which people don't often talk about. Most of the time, it's just, how do we get rid of it? How do we stop it? How do we not get there? Now, the pros to tilt are it tells me as a performance psychology trainer or a coach or anything of that matter, it tells me that for one, you care. It's really difficult to go on tilt about something that you don't care about. So, for one, at the very least, it tells me that you care about your results, you care about the way you're performing or your teammates are performing. And that's very important. Now, another potentially really good thing that comes out of tilt is a more aggressive play style. Now, it depends on the game and it depends on your play style that you're most comfortable with, but it is tilt. When you go on tilt, it's often a trigger to kind of jump off your chair and be a little more aggressive, play a little less safe, take some more risks, and that could be really useful in performance. Especially, tilt comes when you're, not doing so well and, you're most likely losing. So it says that, once we're on tilt, we could tell ourselves, hey, we're on tilt. It's time to change this. It's time to change our future behaviors and change the outcome of this game as best I can. So those are some really good things about tilt. Now, this all again depends on your exact play style, how you handle tilt, um, and ways that it manifests throughout your performance. So, it's really about balancing and finding how much tilt you can handle, how much tilt it will take to absolutely throw off your game, and what you're able to come back from. So those are some of the pros and the cons of tilt. Now I want to go into some action plans and just give you guys some resources to be able to help. Not only find your own level of tilt that you can handle, but give you some ways that you can redirect it or overcome it so that the rest of your performance isn't a total wash. So one of the first ways that I can recommend getting over tilt, and like I said, it's going to be different for everyone. But for me personally, I create a keyword. I say, hey, Dan, when you start to experience tilt, use this keyword to help refocus and recenter my mindset onto letting go of what's happened and playing forward. So, one of the keywords I use is relax. And I don't just tell myself relax. I have an action plan for what that word actually means to me. It means make smarter decisions, take a deep breath, and just focus on what's in front of you. That's my idea of relax. That's my action plan for the keyword when I use that. Now, another one I really like to recommend is come back to your breath. Focus on your breath and make sure that we're choosing an appropriate cadence and just count it out and use that to kind of take your mind off the performance that's in front of you, what's happened so far to this point. And there's some obvious natural points for this. I wouldn't recommend just letting go and solely focusing on your breath during a major team fight, because that probably wouldn't help you very much. So, find that natural point in the game where you can really reset and take those breaths that you need and come back and focus on that cadence and that rhythm. Clear your mind of what's happened, what mistakes have gone, down in the first part of the game, and move forward, play on. Another one that I heard Weldon talk about a little while back was coming back to being grateful and giving yourself a couple points of gratitude, things that you're grateful for in that moment. And it's a little less of like a broad overall in life, but use your immediate surroundings and try and be grateful for low ping, no FPS drops, a good team, things like that that will really help you recenter and just change that mindset, that daunting mindset that you're beginning to feel, and use gratitude to move forward, accept what's coming your way, and play on. And the fourth thing, so we have keywords, breathing, gratitude. The fourth thing is once you hit a point that is there's no return from, it's time to close the game, especially during solo queue or training. It's time to close the game, stand up, take a few breaths, and walk away from it for a little bit. Because we all know that, once you hit a certain point, it's pretty hard to come back from it, and that's okay. We have to understand what we're going to be able to handle, so that way when we start approaching these thresholds in game, in competition, we might know that, hey, look, I might need to be swapped out or subbed out for the remainder of this tournament, the remainder of this game. It's things just aren't going my way, and hopefully you're in a situation to allow a sub or allow swaps and things like that. But, especially when you're training, especially when you're on just trying to have fun, solo queuing, playing with some friends, if you're experiencing too much tilt where, you might say some things that you're going to regret later on, and that could really, affect team dynamics, it's time to step away from the game for, however long it takes. And it could be an hour, it could be 24 hours. We obviously need to make sure we're sticking with our training routines, but at a certain rate, if tilt becomes too much, it's time to just deep breaths and walk away for a little bit. And those are going to be my 4 recommendations. But overall, like I said, you want to find your balance. You want to find what you can handle, what you're going to be able to do when tilt comes your way, and just really know where you respond and how you respond to tilt. And that's going to help you in the long run. So that's going to be it for today. I'm sure tilt is going to come up in quite a few of these videos, so make sure to keep an eye out. It's a huge buzzword in the industry, and it's something that I like to talk about a lot. So, make sure you follow me on Twitter at dhims_esports for more content, more videos, more blogs will be coming out in the very near future. So make sure you're staying tuned on there. We're really happy to have you. Go ahead, if you like the content, hit subscribe on the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. We look forward to it.